this work for him. Phantom. Phantom stands for File Aspect Language, and I'm still missing something for Tom. So if you have some ideas, feel free to find something for Tom, and then we will have it. All right, AOP. I'm going to assume that the majority of you here do not know what AOP is, so a small recap. So AOP is a way to modularize cross-cutting concerns. What's a cross-cutting concern? Sometimes in your application you have some concerns, you cannot have it in one object, it's spread around the code everywhere. There are various ways to address this. AOP is one of those various ways to address this. How do you do this? You define aspects. Aspects are a special kind of modules. An aspect does not only define its behavior, what does it do, but it also defines when this behavior is going to be invoked. The what is called the advice, the when is called the point cut. How does this work? Conceptually, when the application is running, it's always launching a stream of join points. What's a join point? A join point is an execution step of the application, right? In Smalltalk, computation happens by sending messages. So for us, it's very easy to think about a join point as the sending of a message or the reception of a message, or to make it very simple, executing a method. All right. So what happens is that every time that there is a method that's being executed, conceptually, there is the join point that is created. All right. For each join point that is created, there are a number of point cuts running around in the systems, and they will look at this join point and they say, okay, this is interesting for me, or no, this is not interesting for me. Okay? So the point cuts will say, this stuff, this method being executed, this is interesting for me because I want to do something. What this pointed cut is going to do is going to run the advice which is associated to the point cut. Alright? So the application runs, join points are emitted, point cuts select the join points which they think are interesting, and run the advice associated to that. Big AOP introduction in 30 seconds. Alright. Phantom, I tried to design Phantom in the spirit of Smalltalk. What is the spirit of Smalltalk? We can talk hours about this. But the spirit of Smalltalk, for me, three important things. Alright? First thing, but no, not first, second, third. One thing is it's a dynamic language. Another thing is it's a simple language. And yet another thing is a powerful language. So those three things, I wanted Phantom also to possess these capabilities. Let's put it this way, in this way. So how do we do this? On the one hand, Phantom is dynamic AOP. What's dynamic AOP? Dynamic AOP is actually something that originates from Smalltalk because there is a now quite old implementation of aspects in Smalltalk, Aspect S, which was made for Squeak, which has a special feature at that time that you could enable and disable aspects at runtime, which is now the traditional way of looking at dynamic AOP. So Phantom, of course, is dynamic in this way, but it's also dynamic in the way in Smalltalk that you can add classes, you can add methods, you can remove, rename, etc., and everything keeps working as you would expect it to work. All right? Phantom is simple in the way that the amount of constructs which are in the language. Some of the aspect language that I have seen, they have too many constructs. It's too complicated. Too much stuff and too complicated. So what I wanted to do is to really boil this down to minimum stuff. Alright? But also I wanted these to act in a uniform way. Some aspect languages, they are strange in that this thing works for this, but then in this case it works differently, and in this case it doesn't work, etc., etc. No. I don't want this. Alright? Everything as uniform as possible, and try to have no restrictions. Try. Okay? I can't do magic, I'm just trying. Also, I want it to be powerful. Powerful, everything in Phantom is first class. Point cuts are first class, advice are first class, aspects are first class, etc., etc., etc. Yeah? This brings all the power of having first class everything into the aspect language. Not so new, places like Aspect Scheme, languages like Aspect Scheme do stuff like this, and I like that. That's why it's in here. It's also powerful because there are new Aspect language features which are implemented in this language, which have not been implemented in this way or in this combination of features. We can talk about this for a long time. Okay, so to explain a language can be really boring. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to make it as least boring as possible. How am I going to do this? I'm going to try to focus on the triangle. Try to show you the rationale behind the different elements that we have and how these are according to my vision of a particles multipliers. Okay? So, point codes. Point codes define what points in the application that you want an aspect to do its thing. Alright? Let's start with a simple example. This is a point code. A point code is an object in its first class. This is how you instantiate it. What I'm saying here is that I'm interested in the execution of the assert methods of the class testers. Simple. Alright? Everybody following? We can make this a bit more complicated. We can say, okay, I'm interested in more than one method. I'm interested in assert, I'm interested in assert equals, but I can also use a number of patterns in the name of the class. This plus means that I'm not only interested in test case, but also all its subclasses. Alright? So here I'm looking at all my unit tests, every assert and assert equals which is being run in all my unit tests. Okay? The plus, it's not new, this is something we've taken from AspectJava. Also what I can do is I can extract information, runtime information from the context. When this assert or assert equals is being executed, what I can do is I extract context information. What context information that I want to extract, I need to specify it here. For example, I can find out which is the object, which is the receiver. I can extract the object, which is the sender, and I can extract the list of arguments. There are more stuff that we can extract from the context. It's in the paper. I'm not going to enumerate it here because it's boring. All right. Last one. Multiple things here. I can also use a star in the name of the class, which is basically star replaces any type of string. As you know, is in regex. So this is all classes, the name of which starts with the test, right? I can use also wildcards for names of functions. So this is going to intercept all assert something and assert something. Right? So it will do assert equals and it will do assert equals from I don't know which one. Alright? So I can use wildcards in the name of receivers as well to more easily express different places where I'm going to intercept the computation. The receiver as a context. Also, if I want to scope it down a bit, I can scope this to different packages. So restrict, this is just going to look at all the classes in the test SMILE. So it's all classes, the name of which starts with test and which are in the package restrict test SMILE, sorry. Yes?
Can you combine operators? For example, I want to start with test and all these classes of all of them.
What you can do is you can combine point codes. A point code is a first class object, you make one, a point code is a first class object, they understand and, they understand or, they understand not, and this way you can just combine them as you want. Okay. So this is one of the powerful things, because it's a first class, you can combine stuff with and, or, not, etc. Also, a nice thing is, if you don't like this syntax for matching the patterns, you can define your own parser and you can do your own matching. Alright?
With the context, you can also get some variables defined in the method, for example?
No. We don't go into the method itself, we don't break the encapsulation of the method. Alright? So three things. Dynamic. This is dynamic because you add a new class, a new subclass of test case. In this case, this thing will automatically match the new subclass of test case, right? It's simple. We have one type of join point, we have one type of point code. In other Aspect languages, you have multiple kinds of join points, multiple kinds of point codes. It's going to be more complicated.
So you don't distinguish message send from message receive?
No, it's only message receiver.
Okay, and return?
Sorry?
Return?
Return? Message return? No. We don't do that either.
So if I want to do something with the answer,
You can. You can, with an after advice, you can capture it.
okay.
So basically capture the execution, and then you do an after, and in the after you can get the return
So
value.
you've got a round method.
Yes, we've got before after round, the usual stuff.
What is restrict?
Sorry?
Restrict?
Restrict is to say I only want to match on all the classes which are in this package.
Restrict a package. All right.
Because in that case, for example, if you do something like this, you're going to match on all the test cases in the entire system. And maybe you just want to match on all the test cases which are in Mondrian, and then you say restrict Mondrian, for example. I don't know where your tests are. Okay? Advice. Advice is the behavior. So we now specified when in the execution of the program we are going to want to do something. Now we're going to specify what is the stuff that we want, but that we are going to do. This is the advice. The advice in Control is extremely simple. There is no advice. What you do is you say, okay, an advice is, first class, you make one, you give it a point, you say, okay, at this point in the execution of the system, what do I want to do? I want to send this message to this object. And then there's the AOP way of doing things that you can say, I want this to happen before, I want this to happen after, or I want this to happen around the join point itself. So in this case, after this point, this thing happens, I'm going to send this message to this object. This is the way that I like this to be used, because it's very clear, it's very simple, and the behavior are methods. So we're not introducing any new stuff, we're keeping it simple. I know this is annoying, this can be complicated, so I broke a bit on the principle, and there is a second way. The second way is you give a block. Alright? So when, in this case, when this point happens, around the execution of this point, I want this block to execute. What does this mean, around? Around means that instead of the execution of whatever what was specified here, I'm going to replace this execution with what's in here. Alright? This block receives one parameter, which is the context. The context is an object which recollects all of the information that you have exposed from the point kit. What you can do is, if you want to invoke the original behavior, because here we are replacing the original behavior, if you want to invoke the original behavior, you simply send proceed to this context message. Right? The same thing if you want to have the arguments, if you want to have the receiver, if you want to have the target, you just send this message to the context object, you get it, if it has been populated. The point kit decides what it's going to populate, and then the advice can expand. Yes?
In the first example, what would be the parameter for in count?
In count gets one parameter, which is the context.
Right.
Okay. You always get as a parameter the context, and then at this context you can send it proceed, retriever, selector, etc., etc. If it contains it, it's going to give it to you. If it doesn't contain you, it's going to destroy you now. All right? So it's dynamic. I can add advice and remove advice from the system when it's running. No problem. It's simpler. It's simple. I mean, there it's simple, here it's not so simple, but okay. So it's methods, it's blocks. It's nothing really special. In languages like AspectJ, for example, you have a new construct, which is an advice. An advice is actually a method, but a different kind of method, and it's special, etc., etc., etc. No, we don't have this. All right. Everything is first class, which uses the power of first class. And actually, having a block here is also quite powerful, because I can capture whatever I want in the context here and use it later. So I have this power of the blocks, of the lambdas, to put them there if I want. Alright, inter-type declaration. Inter-type declaration are the aspect way of doing class extensions. Alright? The difference with multi-class extensions is that multi-class extensions you cannot add the instance variable. In inter-type declarations, you can add instance variable. This is how you do it in Phantom. I add the instance variable with this name on this class. I can do it with the method. I can add this method on this class. I have to add it as a string. Because what actually happens is going to be compiled in the context of the object of the class of where it's added, so I have it as a string. So it's dynamic. Again, I can add it. I can remove it from the running system. It's simple. I really needed this. I need to add instance variables in some case. If I didn't need it, I wouldn't have added it. I would have done everything with class extensions. But I need it, so I added it. It's also nice because what you can do is you can really have everything in one place. In class extensions, your method, they're part of this package, but they're part of a class which is part of another package. So in this case, we put everything in one place, which is nice. Power is first class. Everything is first class. And what you can do, what you couldn't do before, is I can remove instance variables easily in a modular way. Alright, aspects. Aspects contain pointgets and advice. These are the new kinds of modules that we're going to build using pointgets and advice. An aspect is a class. If you want to have your own aspect, you just subclass the PHAspect class, and the PHAspect class is basically simply a subclass of object. What you do there is you make pointgets, you make advice, and you add them. They have an add message, add pointget, add advice, and then you have an aspect running around in your system. It has a number of pointgets, it has a number of advice, and if you want to make this run, you send it the install message. If you want it no longer to run, you send it the uninstall message. This is identically the same as the last thing, the install and the uninstall is identically as in aspect-less. Correct? So it's dynamic AOP because you can do install. Uninstall is very simple. An aspect is a class. That's it. And first class. And the power is nice here because in languages such as AspectJ, there's things like abstract aspects. You can use pointgets from other aspects, etc., etc., etc. Because everything is first class, I can easily simulate it here. I don't need anything special. All right. Let's see if you've been paying attention. I have a question. What does this do? What happens here? I tried to make an aspect which is very small. Let me help you. I define an aspect, all of that. I run it, and then I send this message.
We loop.
Any other ideas? Opinions? Agreements? Disagreements? Okay, let's see what happens. I do all of this, and then at some point, transcript show gets called. Alright? Transcript show is special. Why is it special? Because I have a pointget that says, when this guy is executed, I'm interested. When it's interested, what's it going to do?
Transcript was an instance of transcript history.
It depends on which version of Pharo you have. Some are transcript something, so it's let's abstract over that. So basically, it's going to intercept, which means that it's going to run before the line at the bottom. Is going to want to run execute its behavior, its advice, which is showing the transcript. Which means I'm sending the show message, which means that it's going to be captured by the pointget, which means I have an infinite loop. This is a classical problem. If you look at, I always go back to AspectJ because it's the most well-known, the most popular. It's a classical anti-pattern in AspectJ. They say, okay, it's in the manual. This is typically the problem that you encounter. Watch out, right? So what happens in Phantom? It's not a problem. In Phantom, we don't have this problem. Why? What we are doing is when something happens at aspect side, this does not automatically get captured. So you don't have this infinite loop. But then you're going to say, okay, yeah, but that means there's a lot of stuff that I cannot do. No, because we have more power. What you can do is you can use the idea of membranes, which is by Eric Lanter and Nicolas Tavarot, which is a refinement of execution levels, in case you know about this stuff, where you can control the scope of where join points go, where join points get captured, and this allows you to write very complex topologies of how to manage your reentrancy in a basically straightforward way. So, it's dynamic because these membranes you add and remove them dynamically. It's simple because by default the program doesn't explode. And if you want to specify where your membranes work, we use point cuts, because point cuts specify different places, so we just reuse that. It's powerful because these membrane topologies can be very complicated. I'm not going to go into detail.
We should shorten.
Yeah, almost there. This is new stuff. I'm not going to go about it in detail. Please have a look at the paper. Test-driven development. Daniel did his work. We've got a lot of tests. If you watched the demo of Alex yesterday, voilà, that's what we had to do. Yeah, the talk of Alex and the demo of Alex yesterday. We have a few read, so this is cool. Right now it's slow. We need to optimize. Right now it's interpreted. It would be cool if we compile it. And this is going to be used as an infrastructure later on. Download it, try it, play with it. It's fun. Questions?
I just wonder, since you're looking for simplicity, why you had selected symbols as parameters to decide whether you were before, after, or around. Why not just have 3 separate selectors?
When I was looking at the slides and when I was making that, yeah, instead of doing when, doing before point cuts, after point cut. Yes, that's just fixing the selector. In the design of the language, it doesn't change anything.
Just like a typo in typing before and then
after and around. Yeah. No, it's a good comment. Yeah. But in architecture, it doesn't change.
No, it doesn't.
5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go.
Can you show your slide with where you use pointers?
The pointed slide.
Easier to ask my question.
Alright, if I can find my mouse pointer. So there, I need to go this way. Yeah.
So I have the impression that your triangle should be like a rectangle with also a point for efficiency.
Could be.
Because otherwise, I mean, if you don't really care about efficiency, or if you don't want to use complex techniques for efficiency, it would be simpler to use a block for point cuts, so that instead of test case plus, I can simply write object class is kind of test case.
This is the way this stuff was done in Aspect S, and I don't really like it because I prefer the patterns. I think they are much more concise in the way in which you can express what you want to match. It's also a standard because it's been in Aspect J for a very long time. And also, if you don't like it, you can write your own match.
Sorry?
If you don't like it, you can write your own match.
Okay.
So instead of giving a string, there is another syntax that you can use where you give it a parser, because I'm using Petit parser, the parser structure at the back end. You give it a parser, and this then gets let loose on the entire system, and you can extract whatever it seems, whatever it deems necessary. He was first.
One of my main concerns with every language is how to figure out, if I'm working in a method, which are the aspects that are affecting that method. Have you implemented something to that, to Phantom, to Pharo?
No, right now, no, but there is aspect maps. Aspect maps is theoretically base language independent, is built on top of Moose. I just need to write the importer. So I need to write an importer from Phantom to aspect maps. We have that. Then on the other hand, you have all the stuff that AGDT does you with little text on the side, etc., etc. This is improvements that needs to be done to the browser infrastructure. I don't have this, but it's feasible. to do it. I don't know who was first. Nuri?
Yes, my question was about the point that are only for messages, or did I miss something?
Only messages.
You don't have access to instance variables?
No.
Or temporary?
Getting or setting instance variables, no. You have to intercept the access.
Sure you do. You've got receiver, so you can do inspire add.
For example, yeah, we could do it that way. Instfarat. Do an intercept of instfarat and do everything there.
Yes, but actually it's not compiled as instfarat. There are different cycles. I mean, there are optimizations for some methods like class, done equal,
Yeah.
and so on.
That's the problem because right now it's an interpreted approach. When we compile it, we might fix this.
Yes, no, but I think a stupid question. If you
No,
have,
no stupid questions.
if you have not conflict, but if I have, at some point I have two possible different advices.
Yeah, advice?
So which one execute first? The one that you add first, no? Or I can specify the orders.
If I my mouse pointer again.
You said that you can order the
Yeah.
ICs.
So there is a way in which you can order it. Actually, there are multiple ways in which you can order it, but I didn't talk about this because it's quite complicated. By default, it's the first guide which was added, but then there's all this way in which you can change it.
Okay. Sorry, no one is an actually.
It's okay.